Welcome to Sleepy History Stories. Tonight, we will drift together into the distant past, exploring how ancient cultures built monuments and the quiet rhythms of life in early civilizations. Settle gently into your space. Feel your body sinking softly into your chair or bed, and allow your mind to wander slowly across plains, river valleys, and early villages where the first marks of human intention shaped the landscape. Before we begin, I invite you to comment softly what time it is and where you are listening from as we share this calm journey together. Imagine the world before the rise of towering temples or grand stone monuments. Rolling hills stretch beneath soft skies, rivers wind lazily through the plains, and the air carries a gentle scent of damp soil and growing vegetation. People move slowly, their feet pressing into the earth, their hands learning the quiet language of materials. Here, permanence is not immediate. It is discovered through patient observation, through repeated touch, and through generations of careful work. Every mound of clay, every polished stone, every flattened path represents quiet effort and the thoughtful rhythm of daily life. In many early civilizations, the first constructions were shaped from earth. Along the fertile banks of the Tigris and Euphrates, mud bricks mixed with straw were molded carefully by hand and left to dry under the warm sun. The faint aroma of drying clay mingled with the sweetness of ripening crops. Builders worked deliberately, often alongside children and elders, who observed the motions of mallets and molds, learning the patient rhythm of shaping space. Interestingly, some mud brick temples were reinforced layer by layer over decades, showing that these structures grew slowly and organically, almost as if they were living parts of the village itself. Water played a crucial role in these early constructions. Simple channels and reservoirs allowed communities to measure level ground, guide foundations, and nourish surrounding fields. In ancient Egypt, builders filled trenches with water to create natural levels, a quiet and effective method for achieving precision without instruments. The soft movement of water in these channels became part of the gentle soundscape of early construction, a rhythm that blended with footsteps and murmured instructions. Stone, when it became central to construction, was treated with equal care. Quarries were calm places of study and labor where workers observed natural cracks in grain to extract blocks with wooden wedges soaked in water. This method allowed stones to separate gradually, preventing sudden fractures. Small groups worked together in near silence, coordinating motions with subtle gestures. Archaeologists today have discovered traces of these techniques, revealing the careful patience that shaped monumental structures without the use of explosives or modern machinery. Moving heavy stones required ingenuity and cooperation. Workers placed blocks on sleds and pulled them along paths lubricated with water or oil. The process was steady, almost meditative, with groups synchronized in motion for hours. In some early civilizations, communal labor was a social activity as well. Farmers brought food, tools, and energy during off-seasons, sharing the labor and maintaining bonds of trust and cooperation. This slow, deliberate work allowed structures to grow steadily, embodying not only strength, but also the collective memory of a community. At construction sites, preparation was as important as lifting. Foundations were leveled with care, ramps built gradually, and stones placed one by one. Surfaces meant to be seen or touched were polished smooth, while hidden areas were left rough. Temples and halls were designed with attention to light, sound, and human movement. The very layout of these early monuments reflected a calm understanding of environment and purpose, creating spaces that invited reflection and quiet activity. As the day comes to a gentle close, imagine workers laying down tools, the sun casting long, soft shadows across mud bricks and stone blocks. The air carries the mingled sense of earth and water, the quiet hum of life settling into evening. Slowly, the efforts of generations become still, leaving behind structures that endure far longer than the lives of those who built them. The calm strength of this patient labor reminds us that permanence is achieved not through haste, but through careful repetition and respect for materials. Rest here for a moment, listening to the imagined whisper of wind across unfinished walls, the soft murmur of water in channels, and the faint echo of hands shaping the world. Soon, we will continue further into the daily lives of those who brought these stones together, exploring the quiet details of labor, ritual, and community that allowed early civilizations to leave such enduring marks. The morning air carries a soft chill, touched by the warmth of the slowly rising sun. Shadows stretch across mud brick foundations and scattered stones, while the scent of damp earth mixes with the faint sweetness of harvested grain drying in the sun. Builders move with quiet purpose, their feet pressing into paths that have been worn smooth by repeated journeys, and their hands already accustomed to the textures of clay, sand, and stone. In these moments, work is not hurried. It flows naturally, guided by rhythm, observation, and the steady pulse of the community. Stone selection remains a deliberate process. Workers examine each block for subtle variations in color and grain, ensuring durability and stability. Extraction is patient and careful. Wooden wedges soaked with water are gently inserted into cracks, creating slow pressure that eventually frees the stone without sudden breaks. The soft tapping of mallets and low murmurs of coordination form a gentle cadence, blending seamlessly with the rustle of leaves and the occasional bird call. Archaeologists today have discovered traces of these techniques, showing that even without metal tools, ancient builders achieved remarkable precision and durability. Transporting heavy stones is an exercise in cooperation and quiet ingenuity. Large blocks are placed on sleds, and pathways are prepared with layers of wet clay or oil to reduce friction. Groups of workers move in slow, synchronized steps, each person aware of the rhythm and effort of the others. In Egypt, depictions show teams pulling massive stones while others sprinkle water in front of the sled, a simple innovation that turns labor into a calm, steady process. Each movement is measured and progress is observed over hours rather than rushed, demonstrating a profound understanding of physics and material behavior. Work follows natural cycles. Construction often takes place during seasons when fields lie fallow, allowing farmers and villagers to contribute without disrupting subsistence. This seasonal rhythm weaves labor into the natural flow of life. Historical records indicate that teams were organized with specific roles, from artisans shaping stone to scribes documenting progress to overseers coordinating the work. Each task is part of a larger, harmonious whole, reinforcing both community bonds and the slow growth of enduring monuments. At the construction site, preparation is meticulous. Foundations are leveled using water channels and plumb lines, producing surfaces so flat that modern engineers still marvel at them. Ramps of earth and mud are built gradually, allowing stones to be raised one by one, each positioned with quiet deliberation. Surfaces meant to be touched are polished carefully, while hidden areas retain a rough texture. The placement of walls, doorways, and courtyards reflects attention not only to structure, but to light, sound, and human movement, creating spaces that feel both functional and calm. Tools are extensions of patient labor. Sand and water polish stone surfaces to a subtle sheen. Wooden mallets shape edges without splintering, and stone chisels leave faint marks that endure across millennia. Repetition of motion, soft contact between hand and material, and the measured rhythm of teamwork infuse the act of building with meditative quality. Builders and materials engage in a quiet dialogue, shaping one another over long hours and days. The day moves gently toward afternoon. The sun warms the earth and shadows lengthen across foundations and ramps. Workers pause for brief meals, the aroma of simple bread and roasted grains mixing with the scent of dust and wet clay. Conversation is low, almost reverent, and the overall energy is steady and harmonious. Each stone, each brick, each carefully smoothed surface contributes to the quiet unfolding of the monument, a slow accumulation of effort that will endure far longer than any single generation. As evening descends, the worksite grows still. Tools are set aside carefully, channels of water settle, and stones rest in their places. The air cools, carrying the faint scent of earth and vegetation. In this calm, the labor of the day seems suspended, as if time itself slows to honor the steady rhythm of creation. Monuments rise not through haste or drama, but through deliberate, repeated action, shaped by patience, observation, and respect for the natural world. Pause for a moment and imagine the cooling stones, the settling dust, and the faint ripple of water in channels. The builders fade into memory, leaving behind quiet forms that will endure and speak softly across centuries, teaching that lasting work is born of calm persistence and measured effort. The following morning rises gently over the settlement, bringing a soft golden light that stretches across leveled foundations, scattered tools, and early stone walls. A faint breeze carries the scent of wet clay from recently shaped bricks and the earthy aroma of tilled fields beyond. The rhythm of life continues quietly, with builders moving deliberately across the site, their hands and feet attuned to the textures of earth, stone, and water. Each motion is measured, each gesture purposeful, as if the very land itself encourages patience and care. Daily life intertwines seamlessly with labor. Families walk slowly along the paths connecting homes to work sites, carrying water, food, or simple tools. Children observe the movements of skilled artisans, sometimes imitating their gestures with small sticks or clay fragments, learning the rhythms of creation without urgency. Elders offer guidance through gentle instruction or quiet correction, their presence reminding the community of continuity and shared knowledge. One fascinating historical detail is that in several early civilizations, such as Sumer and Egypt, these observations by younger members of the community were considered an essential part of learning trades, ensuring that techniques endured across generations. The shaping of stone continues with deliberate calm. Workers strike the surface lightly with wooden mallets or harder stones, coaxing small fragments away to achieve smooth edges. Even the grinding of stone with sand and water is a slow, meditative process, producing flat surfaces that will remain intact for millennia. The sound of contact is soft, almost musical, blending with the occasional bird call, the whisper of wind, and the murmur of distant water channels. In this atmosphere, labor is not merely functional. It becomes a rhythm, a dialogue between human effort and the resilience of materials. Transporting stones and bricks to their final positions remains an exercise in careful coordination. Sleds glide along paths treated with water, clay, or oil, while teams of workers move in harmony, matching their pace to the resistance of the load. Supervisors guide gently, using hand signals or quiet voices, ensuring that momentum is smooth and deliberate. The process is both physical and communal, creating subtle bonds of trust and shared understanding among those who participate. Interestingly, ancient records and artistic depictions suggest that these workers were often recognized for their skill and dedication, not merely as laborers but as essential contributors to sacred or monumental projects. Attention to the construction site itself reflects a profound understanding of the environment. Foundations are measured repeatedly with water-filled channels to confirm horizontality. Ramps are reinforced gradually, and stones are positioned one by one with careful alignment. Surfaces that will be seen, touched, or walked upon are polished meticulously, while hidden faces remain intentionally rough. The design of interior spaces demonstrates awareness of how light enters, how sound travels, and how people will move within the structure. Such considerations create not only functional spaces, but places imbued with calm, reflective energy. Breaks are taken quietly. Workers sit in small clusters, sharing bread, roasted grains, or fruit, their conversations soft and measured. The smell of warm earth mixes with the faint aroma of food, producing a comforting and grounding environment. Water from nearby channels is sipped slowly, and the occasional bird or small animal passes unnoticed, coexisting gently with human activity. These pauses allow both the body and mind to rest, reinforcing the slow, deliberate pace of life and construction. As the afternoon unfolds, small tasks continue with understated precision. Stones are adjusted slightly, mud is packed carefully between bricks, and ramps are monitored for stability. Hands glide over surfaces, sensing imperfections and correcting them with patient effort. Each adjustment is minor on its own, but contributes to the integrity of the whole structure. This attention to detail, repeated quietly over hours and days, allows monuments to endure for centuries, a testament to the cumulative power of calm, consistent labor. As evening draws near, the settlement settles into gentle stillness. The sun casts long, soft shadows over foundations and ramps, and the air cools with a subtle sweetness from the earth and vegetation. Tools are laid down with care, water channels are allowed to settle, and stones rest quietly in their assigned positions. The builders step back, their work complete for the day, leaving the monuments to absorb the fading warmth and the calm of twilight. Allow your mind to rest here for a while, imagining the stones bathed in soft light, the air carrying the faint scent of clay and grain, and the quiet rhythm of life continuing at a gentle pace. These monuments, formed through patience and repeated care, endure as silent teachers, reminding us that slow, deliberate effort, grounded in observation and collaboration, leaves the most lasting impressions on the world. The next morning unfolds with a soft, muted light that brushes across the settlement, casting gentle shadows over ramps, foundations, and partially completed walls. The air is cool and carries the faint scent of damp earth and freshly shaped clay. mingling with the subtle sweetness of ripening grain from nearby fields. Builders move slowly, almost as if in a quiet ritual, their feet pressing into familiar paths and their hands already attuned to the textures of stone and mud bricks. The rhythm of the day is calm and deliberate, each movement carefully measured, each action forming part of a larger, enduring pattern. Daily routines blend seamlessly with the labor of construction. Families walk slowly along the narrow paths, connecting homes and work sites, carrying water, food, or bundles of tools. Children watch quietly, sometimes imitating the careful gestures of artisans with small sticks or clay fragments, learning by observation the patient rhythm of creation. Elders offer guidance without urgency, gently correcting motions or demonstrating techniques with slow, flowing gestures. Historical studies indicate that this observational learning was considered essential in civilizations such as Mesopotamia and Egypt, ensuring that knowledge of construction techniques passed steadily across generations. The shaping and placement of stones continues with meticulous care. Wooden mallets strike lightly against edges, coaxing away small fragments, while stones are polished with sand and water, producing smooth surfaces that will endure. The soft, rhythmic sounds of these activities blend with distant water channels, the occasional bird call, and the whisper of wind through reeds and trees. Each motion reinforces a sense of calm, both for the workers and for the monument itself, as the building grows steadily over time. Transporting materials remains an exercise in quiet coordination. Sleds glide slowly along prepared paths, the surface lubricated with water or oil to reduce friction. Workers synchronize their movements, following subtle hand signals or low murmurs, maintaining a steady, unhurried pace. The effort is both physical and communal, fostering bonds of trust and shared purpose. Interestingly, in some ancient cultures, such as Egypt, these teams were acknowledged for their expertise and dedication, with inscriptions and records celebrating the skill and care involved in monumental projects. Attention to detail at the construction site is constant. Foundations are rechecked with water levels, ramps are reinforced gradually, and stones are placed carefully, one by one. Surfaces that will be visible or touched are polished meticulously, while hidden faces remain rough, reflecting an understanding of both practical function and aesthetic perception. Interior spaces are designed thoughtfully, with consideration of light, acoustics, and movement. Temples, halls, and ceremonial platforms are not only functional but intentionally calming, spaces that encourage reflection and measured activity. Throughout the day, quiet breaks allow builders to rest and nourish themselves. They sit in small clusters, sharing bread, roasted grains, or simple fruits. Conversations remain soft and measured, punctuated only by the occasional laugh or gentle remark. The aroma of food blends with the earthiness of clay and stone, creating a grounding, soothing atmosphere. Water is sipped slowly from nearby channels, and small animals move quietly through the site, coexisting peacefully with human activity. These pauses reinforce the steady rhythm of labor and life, reminding everyone that construction is part of a broader, harmonious cycle. As afternoon turns toward evening, subtle adjustments continue. Stones are nudged into precise positions, mud is carefully packed between bricks, and ramps are monitored for stability. Each small, deliberate motion contributes to the overall integrity of the structure. The cumulative effect of such measured work is remarkable, allowing monuments to endure for centuries and embody the patient dedication of countless individuals. When twilight arrives, the site settles into calm stillness. Long shadows stretch over foundations and walls, and the air cools gently, carrying the soft scent of earth and vegetation. Tools are set aside carefully. Water channels settle into quiet pools, and stones rest where they have been placed. Builders step back, their work complete for the day, leaving the monuments to absorb the fading warmth and the serene hush of evening. Pause here for a moment and allow your mind to drift across the quiet settlement, the cooling stones, and the gentle rhythm of life continuing unhurriedly. If you are still listening, gently comment a heart emoji to share this calm experience. The monuments stand as silent witnesses to patience, observation, and careful repetition, teaching that enduring structures are born from steady, unhurried effort, and that true strength lies in the quiet harmony of human endeavor and the natural world. Dawn arrives slowly over the settlement, spilling a pale golden light across foundations, ramps, and the partially completed walls of the monuments. The air is cool and carries the gentle scent of wet clay, tilled soil, and the faint aroma of grains drying in the morning sun. Builders move deliberately, their feet pressing softly into familiar paths, their hands already attuned to the textures of stone, mud, and timber. The rhythm of the day unfolds quietly, without hurry, as if the landscape itself encouraged patience and careful attention. Daily life and construction are intertwined seamlessly. People move along narrow paths carrying water, tools, and bundles of reeds or grain. Children watch the motions of skilled artisans, occasionally mimicking their gestures with sticks or small clay fragments, learning the rhythms of creation without urgency. Elders guide quietly, demonstrating techniques or adjusting motions with flowing, deliberate movements. This gentle passing of knowledge ensured that skills and practices were preserved and refined across generations. Historical records from Mesopotamia and Egypt show that apprentices often spent years observing before actively shaping materials, highlighting the calm, patient nature of learning in early civilizations. The shaping of stone continues with meticulous care. Wooden mallets tap softly against edges, small chips falling away to create smooth, even surfaces. Sand and water polish the stone, producing a sheen that will endure for centuries. The faint, rhythmic sounds blend with the whisper of wind, distant water channels, and the occasional bird call, creating a meditative soundscape. Each stone is considered carefully, its position, orientation, and surface texture contributing to the overall harmony of the structure. Moving materials across the site requires coordination and subtle ingenuity. Large stones and mud bricks are placed on sleds and guided along prepared paths. Water, oil, or clay lubricates these paths to reduce friction, and groups of workers move in quiet synchrony, following gestures or low murmurs rather than hurried commands. This cooperative rhythm not only eases the physical burden, but also strengthens the social bonds of the community. Records suggest that skilled teams were recognized and respected for their expertise, their work seen as essential to both the sacred and practical aspects of life. The construction site is a space of constant observation and gentle adjustment. Foundations are rechecked with water-filled channels to ensure flatness. Ramps are reinforced slowly, and stones are placed precisely one by one. Surfaces that will be touched or observed are polished with care, while hidden faces are left rough reflecting practical considerations and an understanding of human perception. The design of interior spaces demonstrates attention to the flow of light, the travel of sound, and the movement of people, creating spaces that feel calm and balanced, suitable for reflection and quiet ritual. During the warmest part of the day, workers pause to rest and nourish themselves. Small clusters gather, sharing bread, roasted grains, or fresh fruit. Conversation is low and measured, the occasional gentle laugh blending with the soft murmur of water and the rustle of wind through reeds. The sense of food, earth, and wet clay mingle, forming a grounding, soothing atmosphere. These quiet pauses reinforce the rhythm of labor, allowing both body and mind to remain steady and attentive. As afternoon slowly drifts into evening, careful adjustments continue. Stones are nudged into exact positions, mud is packed meticulously between bricks, and ramps are observed for stability. Each small motion contributes to the overall integrity and longevity of the monument. The cumulative effect of these deliberate actions, repeated over days, months, and even decades, creates structures that endure far beyond the lifetimes of those who built them, embodying the quiet diligence of many generations. When the sun begins to dip toward the horizon, the worksite settles into calm stillness. Long shadows stretch across foundations and walls, and the air cools, carrying the faint scent of earth, clay, and vegetation. Tools are laid down carefully. Water channels settle quietly, and stones rest in their intended places. Builders step back, their labor complete for the day, leaving monuments that absorb the fading warmth and the serene hush of evening. Pause here and let your mind wander gently across the site. Picture the cooling stones, the calm settling of dust, and the slow, quiet rhythm of life continuing at its own unhurried pace. The monuments stand as silent witnesses to patience, collaboration, and careful repetition, a timeless testament to the enduring harmony between human effort and the natural world. The light shifts subtly as another day unfolds, softer now, filtered through a pale sky that seems to slow every movement below. The monument rises a little higher than before, its edges more defined, its presence more firmly rooted in the landscape. The air carries a quiet stillness, mixed with the familiar sense of stone dust, damp clay, and nearby water. Builders return to their work with unspoken understanding, resuming tasks exactly where they were left, as if time itself had simply paused overnight. Attention turns increasingly toward balance and alignment. As structures grow taller, even small adjustments matter. Stones are examined from multiple angles, measured not only with tools, but with the careful eye of experience. A block is rotated slightly, another lifted and lowered again, until it rests in a position that feels correct. This sensitivity to balance reflects a deep familiarity with materials. Ancient builders understood weight and pressure intuitively, learning through repetition how stone behaved when stacked, supported, or left unsupported. Archaeological evidence shows that many monuments were designed with subtle inward slopes, increasing stability while remaining almost invisible to the eye. Wood plays an important supporting role during this phase of construction. Beams and frames provide temporary structure, guiding placement and relieving strain as stones are raised. Timber creaks softly under pressure, a sound that signals caution rather than urgency. These wooden elements are never meant to last. They serve quietly, then are removed once their task is complete. returning to other uses or to the earth itself. This temporary partnership between wood and stone reveals an understanding that permanence is often achieved through the careful use of what is impermanent. The worksite feels increasingly organized, yet calm. Paths are kept clear, tools are placed deliberately, and materials are arranged so that movement remains smooth and unhurried. Scribes may sit nearby, recording deliveries of stone or noting progress, their reed pens scratching softly against clay tablets or papyrus. These records, some of which survive today, provide insight into daily operations, showing that monumental construction was not chaotic, but structured, planned, and remarkably consistent over long periods of time. Sound remains subdued. There is no shouting, only the low murmur of coordination, the tap of stone against stone, the slow exhale of effort as a block settles into place. Even the pauses feel intentional. Workers step back, observing the structure from a distance, allowing the eye to rest and reassess. This practice of stepping away, of viewing the whole rather than the individual piece, was essential to maintaining harmony in design and proportion. As the sun reaches its highest point, light spills into newly formed spaces, illuminating surfaces that were once hidden. Builders note how shadows move, how brightness changes throughout the day. These observations influence future placement, ensuring that inner chambers remain cool, shaded, and calm. In some cultures, the orientation of monuments was aligned deliberately with the sun, moon, or stars, not for spectacle, but to reflect natural cycles and reinforce a sense of order within the world. Rest comes quietly. Workers sit in shaded areas, leaning against cool stone, sharing simple food and water. The stone itself holds the memory of the morning warmth, radiating a gentle heat. Conversations remain soft, often drifting toward daily life, weather, or shared memories. These moments of rest are as much a part of the monument as the labor itself, sustaining the human presence that gives meaning to the structure. As the day slowly fades, the monument stands in partial silhouette against the sky, its lines clean, its form steady. Dust settles. Tools are returned to their places. The site exhales into stillness once more. What has been added today is modest, perhaps barely noticeable to an outside observer, yet essential. Each layer supports the next, each careful decision strengthening what will remain long after voices fall silent. Let your thoughts linger here with the quiet weight of stone, the cooling air, and the sense of continuity stretching far beyond a single day. The monument waits patiently, shaped by calm intention, ready to receive the next small, deliberate act of human care. The structure now casts a longer shadow across the ground, its presence felt not through height alone, but through the calm certainty of its form. Morning light glides along edges that have been shaped and reshaped by careful hands, revealing subtle variations in color and texture. The air is still, holding the faint mineral scent of stone warmed by yesterday's sun and cooled through the night. Builders return quietly, moving with familiarity through spaces that have begun to feel enclosed, sheltered, and gently defined. At this stage, attention shifts toward refinement rather than expansion. The pace slows even further, as surfaces are inspected closely and corrected with deliberate restraint. Fingers trace along stone faces, sensing irregularities too small to see. A corner is soft, an edge adjusted, a joint packed more carefully with fine material. These subtle refinements are rarely visible from afar, yet they determine how the structure will endure wind, rain, and time itself. One quiet historical detail is that in several ancient cultures, final surface treatments took as long as the initial construction, emphasizing longevity over speed. Inside the growing monument, light behaves differently now. It filters through openings with intention, illuminating floors in narrow bands that shift slowly as the day progresses. Builders observe this movement, noting where light rests and where shadow remains. Adjustments are made to openings and angles, not for decoration, but for comfort and balance. Spaces meant for gathering are kept softly lit, while passageways remain cool and dim, guiding movement gently without confusion or strain. Sound changes as well. Footsteps echo faintly within newly enclosed chambers, softened by rough stone and unfinished surfaces. Voices remain low, naturally dampened by the architecture itself. This acoustic quality is not accidental. Ancient builders understood that sound traveled differently through stone spaces, and they shaped interiors to reduce sharp echoes, creating environments suited for calm speech, ritual, and reflection. Archaeological analysis of temples and halls shows intentional variation in wall texture to control resonance. Outside, supporting structures continue their quiet service. Earthen ramps are maintained carefully, their slopes adjusted to ensure stability. Wooden supports remain in place, bearing weight without complaint, their fibers creaking softly under pressure. These temporary elements are treated with respect, checked often, repaired when needed. They are part of the process even though they will not remain. This understanding of temporary support reflects a broader awareness that lasting results often depend on things meant to disappear. Work continues in small groups, each focused on a specific task. Coordination requires little speech. Gestures, glances, and shared experience guide action. A stone is lifted slightly, paused, then lowered again with collective agreement. There is no frustration in repetition, only assurance. Builders know that precision emerges through calm persistence, not force. Historical records suggest that mistakes were corrected quietly and early, preventing the need for dramatic intervention later. As the day progresses, the monument feels increasingly settled into its place. It does not dominate the landscape, but belongs to it. Dust, stirred by movement, settles quickly. Birds perch briefly on ledges before lifting away again. The structure has begun to interact with its surroundings, casting shade, redirecting wind, and holding warmth. These interactions are observed and respected, informing the next choices made by those shaping it. Rest comes gently, as it always has. Workers sit against stone that now feels familiar, its surface cool and reassuring. Food is shared quietly. Water is poured slowly, hands rinsed, dust washed away. There is a sense of quiet satisfaction, not pride, but balance. The work feels correct, aligned with intention and environment alike. As evening approaches, the monument absorbs the last light of the day. Shadows deepen within its spaces, and the air cools steadily. Tools are placed carefully aside. Temporary supports are checked one last time. The builders step back, allowing the structure to stand alone in the fading light. It remains silent and steady, shaped not by urgency, but by patience repeated day after day. Let your thoughts rest here, within the calm enclosure of stone and shadow. Feel the stillness settle, the air slow, and the sense of continuity extend beyond the present moment. The monument waits, unchanged through the night, ready for one more quiet day of careful attention. Time now feels softer, less defined, as the monument nears a state of quiet completion. Morning arrives without announcement, its light settling gently across stone surfaces that have grown familiar to both hand and eye. The air is still and cool, carrying the faint mineral scent of worked stone and the distant freshness of water, moving slowly through channels beyond the site. The structure stands calmly, no longer a collection of parts, but a unified presence that seems to breathe with the landscape around it. Work in this final phase is subtle. There is no sense of urgency, only careful attention. Builders move slowly through the space, not to add height or mass, but to listen to what has already been created. Hands glide across walls, feeling for balance and continuity. Small adjustments are made, a stone eased into a more comfortable position, a surface smoothed further so that touch feels gentle and reassuring. These actions are quiet, almost invisible, yet they determine how the monument will age, how it will respond to weather, time, and human presence. Inside the structure, light has found its patterns. Narrow openings admit soft illumination that drifts across floors and walls throughout the day. Builders observe how these movements change with the hours, ensuring that interior spaces remain calm and temperate. In many ancient cultures, this sensitivity to light was intentional. Temples and ceremonial structures were often designed so that light entered gradually, never harshly, reinforcing a sense of stillness and contemplation rather than spectacle. Sound within the monument is soft as well. Footsteps produce muted echoes that fade quickly. Voices, when used, remain low and measured, absorbed by stone surfaces shaped with care. Ancient builders understood, through experience rather than theory, how texture influenced sound. Rougher surfaces dampened resonance, while smoother ones allowed gentle amplification. This knowledge helped create environments where silence felt natural and speech felt intimate, never overwhelming. Outside, temporary supports began to lose their purpose. Wooden beams are inspected, some removed quietly, others left a little longer to ensure stability. Earthen ramps are no longer extended upward. They remain as gentle slopes, soon to be leveled back into the ground. These elements, essential yet fleeting, remind us that much of what enables permanence is never meant to last. Archaeological traces show that many such supports were dismantled carefully, their materials reused, leaving the monument standing alone without visible evidence of the process that shaped it. The builders themselves move differently now. There is less repetition, more observation. They stand at a distance, viewing the structure from multiple angles, letting the eye rest. This practice of stepping back was crucial in ancient construction, allowing proportion and harmony to guide final decisions. It is here, in stillness rather than action, that many of the most important choices are made. As the day moves toward evening, the monument seems to settle into itself. Heat stored in the stone releases slowly into the cooling air. Shadows deepen within chambers and along outer walls. Dust stirred by movement settles and remains undisturbed. Tools are gathered quietly, not with finality, but with calm certainty that little remains to be done. When twilight arrives, the structure stands complete enough to endure. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, steady and grounded, shaped by countless small decisions made without haste. The builders linger briefly, then drift away, leaving the monument alone with the night, the wind, and the slow passage of time. Let your thoughts come to rest here, with the cooling stone, the dimming light, and the profound quiet that follows careful creation. The monument remains, not as a symbol of urgency or ambition, but as a testament to patience, balance, and the enduring power of calm, deliberate human effort. With most visible work complete, attention turns to what will remain unseen, yet deeply important. The monument stands quietly now, but the surrounding ground still carries signs of human movement, temporary paths, and supporting earthworks. Builders move slowly around the base, smoothing soil, redistributing earth, and guiding water away from foundations. These actions are calm and practical, ensuring that rain will flow gently, that moisture will not linger where stone meets ground. Archaeological evidence shows that drainage and ground preparation were critical concerns, even if they left little visible trace once finished. The spaces around the monument began to change character. Where ramps once rose, earth is lowered and leveled, returning gradually to the shape of the land. Loose stones are gathered and reused elsewhere. Timber supports, no longer needed, are removed with care and carried away for future work. Nothing is rushed. Each element is released slowly from its role, allowing the structure to settle naturally into its environment. This process reflects an understanding that completion is not an abrupt moment, but a gradual easing into stillness. Within the monument, quiet inspections continue. Builders walk slowly through corridors and chambers, noting how air moves, how coolness gathers, how sound behaves when footsteps fade. Small adjustments are still possible. A stone might be eased slightly, a surface smoothed once more, a joint filled more carefully. These refinements are subtle, yet they influence comfort and longevity. Historical studies suggest that ancient builders often revisited structures after initial completion, responding to early signs of wear or imbalance with calm corrections rather than dramatic alteration. The monument also begins to take on social meaning beyond construction. People from the surrounding settlement pass by more often, pausing briefly, touching the stone, standing quietly in shaded areas. The structure becomes part of daily life even before it is formally dedicated or fully finished. Children run their hands along cool walls. Elders linger in sheltered spaces. The monument is no longer only a project. It is becoming a place. Light continues to play across its surfaces, now unobstructed by scaffolding or ramps. Builders observe these patterns with interest, confirming that shadows fall where intended, that brightness softens interiors rather than overwhelming them. In several ancient cultures, alignment with seasonal sunlight was checked repeatedly after construction, ensuring harmony between structure and sky. These observations reinforce the sense that the monument is complete not when labor ends, but when it settles comfortably into the rhythms of nature. Workdays grow shorter, fewer tools are carried, fewer adjustments are needed. The sounds of construction fade into the background of ordinary life. What remains is presence rather than activity. Stone holds warmth during the day and releases it slowly at night. Walls redirect wind gently. Shade gathers predictably in certain places. These are signs that the structure has begun to function as intended. The builders themselves change pace. They arrive later, leave earlier, spending more time observing than doing. Their role is shifting from creators to caretakers, ensuring that nothing urgent has been overlooked. This transitional period is rarely discussed in dramatic histories, yet it is essential. It is the quiet handover between human effort and the long patience of time. The monument now stands ready to endure seasons, weather, and generations. Not yet a relic, not yet ancient, it exists fully in the present moment, shaped by countless calm decisions and steady hands. The story has not ended, but it has slowed to a near stillness, preparing gently for what comes next. Night settles slowly over the landscape, and the monument stands quietly within it, unchanged by the fading light. The air cools, and a gentle stillness spreads across the ground that was once busy with footsteps and careful movement. Stone surfaces release the warmth they have held throughout the day, and shadows deepen along walls and pathways. There is no sound of tools now, no murmur of coordination, only the soft presence of the structure as it becomes part of the natural rhythm of the world around it. The builders are no longer here, yet their intentions remain. Every stone rests where it was meant to rest. Every surface carries the memory of hands that moved patiently, deliberately, without urgency. Rain will fall in time, wind will pass gently across edges, and seasons will turn again and again. The monument does not resist these changes. It was shaped with the understanding that time would continue long after the work ended, and that endurance comes from harmony rather than force. In the days and years that follow, people will approach the structure quietly. Some will pause in its shade. Others will walk its paths slowly, their footsteps soft by stone and earth. The monument will offer shelter, orientation, and calm, not through grandeur, but through balance and presence. This was always its purpose. Ancient builders did not seek to rush their mark upon the world. They sought to place something steady within it, something that could outlast noise and urgency. What remains most striking is not the size of the stones or the effort required to move them, but the patience woven into every decision. These monuments were not built in moments of excitement. They were shaped in ordinary days, repeated motions, quiet corrections, and thoughtful pauses. They remind us that early civilizations understood something deeply simple. Lasting things are made slowly, with attention, cooperation, and respect for both materials and people. As the night deepens, the monument becomes almost indistinguishable from the land itself. It does not demand to be noticed. It simply exists, grounded and calm, sharing space with wind, stars, and passing time. This quiet presence is its final form, a steady companion to generations who will come and go, carrying their own lives gently around it. Now, as this journey through ancient construction and early civilizations comes to rest, allow your thoughts to slow even further. Let the image of cooling stone, dim light, and settled earth remain with you. There is nothing more to build here, nothing more to adjust. Everything is where it needs to be. Thank you for spending this quiet time with Sleepy History Stories. Wherever you are listening from, and whatever time of night it may be, may you carry this calm with you as you rest. Let the patience of ancient hands and the stillness of enduring stone ease your thoughts, soften your breathing, and guide you gently toward sleep. Good night, and rest well.